law of attraction information for a while, and you feel like you've been applying everything that you've learned, but you just don't see your life changing, then welcome to the Focus Lounge, where we teach you what you've been missing. So let me tell you why you've been missing out on the actual manifestation. Because most information out there teaches you how to want, how to order from the universe, and the tools to help you put your order in, so to speak. But then it doesn't really move into the teaching of the universe has your order and you don't have to keep putting it in. If you keep doing the tools that are to place the order, that means that you don't believe the order has arrived in the universe. And so you keep operating from that same I don't have it standpoint, I'm looking to make it happen standpoint. Right? So it's the same thing. But when you realize the order is in, the universe is working with you, and you relax into that knowledge and don't attach the hows or the whens or trying to write the story about it, and you just know the universe has my order and it will show up when it's the right time for me. And stop second guessing that the universe is going to be late because you want it now and it's not going to come until whenever. You don't know when it's coming. You just know you want it, and they know, and they're going to craft together a beautiful way of making it happen for you, right? When I say they, I am not talking about some benevolent granting force like fatherly figure and so on. That's a whole different line of reasoning and more of a religious dogma type of approach. I believe that there is a central creative source that we are all a part of, we're sparks from, and we've come here in human experience, in these human bodies, to realize that we have the same creative power as the central creative force, and that when we come here to Earth, the way to make things happen is by utilizing our focus, having complete faith that it is underway, and just staying in a good enough mood and feelings that you can get those nudges like where to go, or call this one, or drive here, or just hearing something random, where you feel yeah, this is something important. That's by and far the way that it is happening most successfully for people. Where most people that are suffering from the not making it happen are going wrong is that they stay in that wanting and keep, writing it out and so on and so forth. I have to tell you that chasing repels. It's just natural energy physics. What you chase, you repel. And so if you're chasing things that you feel are not in your grasp, they remain out of your grasp. But when you can just relax and allow that knowledge of, I know, if it's for me, it's this, and if not, then better. Everything flows. I feel like people are creating their lives by default. So let me just start by beginning that you do not need to become a deliberate creator. Well, actually, yes, you do. You are already a creator. So what you need is to become a deliberate creator, okay? What I'm saying is that you have the power all along. What you're putting your focus on, which usually tends to be stuff you don't want, fearful things. I don't want to be without money. I don't want to lose this relationship. I don't want to work at this job anymore. The saying what you resist persists. It's there for a reason. Whatever you're resisting, you're still giving your focus to, so you're making it happen. Okay? So the idea is for you to retrain yourself, right? With the gentle re-guidance of the tools that we have here, so that you can stop putting your focus on the things that you don't want and actually focusing on the things that you do want. I mean, a great majority of us spend a lot of time in deflection of what we don't want. But how many of us really put time to what we do want? There are tools within the Focus Lounge that help you identify who you really are as a person. Like, what do you want? Really, material things, spiritual things, emotional things, all of it. What does your life experience really call from you? What would give you the most joy? What would allow you to move through your life experience with that feeling of, I got this, I'm supported, the universe is friendly, and that we're in a co-creative dance. This is embodiment. That feeling is not something that you just flow right into, like with a couple of words and a couple of affirmations. That happens once you have started to really feel like you are in control of the things that you're manifesting, and that you really have the ability to manage your emotions and see that contrast and things that happen that you're not going to be crazy about are necessary just to make the other things that you are crazy about even sweeter. Contrast informs us of what we don't want so that we can identify what we do want, right? So what are you going to get at the Focus Lounge? The Focus Lounge is here because it's a new way of really harnessing the power that is given to us. You want to say God-given, soul-given, creator-given, whatever force you feel yourself a part of, okay, that is on your side and wanting you to have the best life ever, okay? That's what you're going to get at the Focus Lounge. A feeling of really groundedness in who you are, why you came here, why the Creator even sent you in a human suit here, and what it's all about. So join me and let me give you some information that has helped me in life. And let me just tell you that in the last 10 years, I've gone from manifesting something that seemed almost impossible to now feeling like I can really repeatedly make this happen. So who am I? Okay, let me give you a lowdown. I'm a regular person, spiritual seeker, optimist at heart. Okay, I started my spiritual learnings back in, like, I want to say 2009, really formally. I had some spiritual teachers that started to explain why the synchronistic numbers and so on and so forth, and then what was happening with the 2012 shift and the end of the Mayan calendar and what that was going to mean for the collective consciousness. So I was super interested in all that. And then the law of attraction was a really resonant piece because I could track my life backwards and forwards, seeing how it was working one way or another. So before I even knew about it, I could see how it was working in my life. So great. But even knowing about law of attraction didn't solidify that it was always going to work in my life and that I was going to be able to manifest just, because that was going to come with more learning and more understanding of actually the support that is within us all, okay? There is an inner being that we all carry that is that more spiritual side. So let's say if you're 100%, there's like that 10% drop that is the human you, and then there's that 90% spiritual side that's guiding you and within you. So that's your inner being, and that's where you get your nudges from on, to act or do or call or, whatever moves you forward in your manifestational life. Nudges and how to get to the path of least resistance to what you're seeking. So with all that, we're here to enjoy ourselves, create and co-create with one another. We do not create in other people's realities. We are here to create in our own. And there's always an elegance that goes about with what we want in our lives and what others want, and how we all come together to be pieces in each other's creations. So in 2016, I was at a place in my life where I couldn't believe things were happening this way. I was fully ensconced in believing about law of attraction and, the universe and all this, and feeling like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, touting the, gospel of positivity and feeling good and understanding that, life was happening with me and for me. And, well, that's what I thought I understood. Then all of a sudden, at the end of 2016, everything happened at once. It was the holidays. I remember it was like a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving, and my landlady decided that all the tenants that she had, myself and two other people, were going to get evicted because she wanted to remodel the house and start to move her family into it. So we all had to be out by December 31st. I had nowhere to go. And furthermore, I had also just lost my job because as things go, it's kind of like momentum. So the momentum of things happening was happening. And then my mom had also come in the summer to join me. She relocated from New York. So here we were in Florida, getting evicted. I had no job. I had no reason to believe I was going to be able to find anything by December 31st, but I had to try. So I did. We looked at every horrible little place that you could imagine. We went on countless trial and errors for apartments and nothing rang true. On top of everything, my beautiful car, I had a gorgeous 2014 Mercedes C-Class Coupe, which I'm a car person, so as you get to know me, you'll find out about me and the cars and my loves. But anyway, nutshell in that one, it was up, the 3-year lease was up, I had to give it up, and frankly, at that point in time, that was like the only thing that was giving me joy, like my beautiful car. So my heart was heavy with losing my beautiful lakefront apartment, having, my mom to be responsible for now as well, the car, the no job, like what was happening? I was getting more and more frustrated, and it was almost impossible for me to stay positive, but I had to keep moving. So I was packing up that apartment that I had no idea where I was going to go to next. I was just packing because I knew I had to be out December 31st. So even if that meant me, mom, and the cats and the dog were going to be in the car, that's what it was going to be. But I went out for my drive just to clear my thought. And I was yelling at the universe. I was like, hey, I don't know what this is all about. I am so tired of looking and not finding. I'm doing everything that I said or that, is supposed to be. I'm touting positivity. I'm living positive. I'm expecting positive. And yet I feel like Job from the Bible, like everything is happening. Where is going to be like the light for me happen where I can really say, okay, my belief was rewarded. It's working. And I was at a red light, I'll never forget it. And suddenly a voice not my own said, what if what I have for you is better than you could have imagined? And at that moment I recognized it wasn't my voice, and a calm just came over me. Like, okay, all right, I'm going to believe this because I can't continue to feel this way. And I went home that night after that drive and I just chilled out, went to sleep, and the next morning I had an appointment at the Honda dealer to try for yet another car. Now, all these cars, as beautiful as they are, and your brand is your brand, going from a Mercedes to a Honda in my mind was definitely, what do they call it? Demotion? Yeah. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'm willing. I wasn't that bougie that I was like, no, I gotta get another one. I would have loved it, but I was just like, whatever, I'll take a Yaris, I don't care. After I got turned down at the Honda dealer again, there was a quiet sense of anger that kind of came over me. And it wasn't anger that I needed to lash out at people. It was anger that felt like a relief. Because before I was like hopeless, but anger felt like power. And I was like, you know what? I'm driving my mother home, one of the Mercedes dealer, and I'm going to get my car. Those were the words that were in my head at that moment. And I did just that. I took her home and I said, I'll be back later. And I drove to Mercedes of South Orlando. And I just started walking around, talking with the dealer. There was like some trouble with him and his girlfriend, so he couldn't really fully attend me. But I needed to get what I needed to get from there, which was the knowledge that I could be approved for a car, which I had selected there but wasn't my favorite. So once I realized they're approving me, cool, let me look for the coupe. So I found the coupe in North Orlando, and it was white, which is my usual preferred color. It had a spoiler, which my other one did not, and it had a flat bottom steering wheel, and it was a black interior, which I had not had in many years. So I was over the moon. Plus, guess what? Half the money that I was paying for the other one. When I tell you that was the fastest car deal I had made to date, to that date, I am not kidding. I drove in literally at 5:30 in the afternoon, test drove the car, and by 8:30 I was driving out after putting down a paltry $500 deposit that I barely had, and yet I was driving out with my dream car because the universe was right. What they had for me was better than I could have imagined. I chose to believe in that moment that more was coming. And guess what? The next day, I drove to go see the apartment that we had somewhat secured. I thought it was going to be the one. But as I got there, everything was just a comedy of errors. The landlord didn't even know how to turn on the hot water. Things were just mismatched and looking not right. So I decided to go to one place that I had not seen in a while, and that turned out to have the perfect apartment for us, a second floor, lakefront as well. Gorgeous, 2-bedroom with distinct separation in the living room because my mother was also living in a 1-bedroom lakefront with me since she had come. So that was what we needed. It was a beautiful place, calm. Landed there. It was great. And within a few weeks from there, I had a job, one that I enjoyed, which then set momentum for yet another one that paid more and was really like my life was on track again because I chose to believe that voice that night. And I chose to see the momentum of the changing of the power within me to say, I can make this happen. I never forgot that feeling when I left that Honda dealer and said, I'm going to the Mercedes dealer and I'm going to get my car. It didn't have to be the Mercedes dealer, but that's what I wanted. And something in me knew that the universe had it for me. And that was the night that just pretty much sewed up me believing that all of this was possible. Now, I needed years to integrate more lessons that I'll bring to you over the course of this podcast. But trust me when I say this is worthy information for you to know and worthy information for you to live the best life possible. Because just this year alone, we're going to get into some major manifestations that happened for me and that I saw through to the end. When I think of manifesting, I think of a surfer, right? So the surfer gets on his board, he's in the ocean, he's just kind of like looking around, he's not quite sure where that wave is, but he's there, he's paddling, But then he locks in on that wave and the focus is there. And that wave and the focus of the surfer kind of like answer each other. And that surfer knows exactly when it's time to pop up on that board and ride the wave. Stop asking for the order. Now it's time for allowing. Now is when the universe takes over and you're on that board riding the wave, holding on loosely, because you don't need to micromanage the hows, the whats, the wheres, none of that. You just know that you're in that energy and you're riding. And you ride that all the way to shore. And you knew that you were in that dance. And shore represents your culminated manifestation, your 3D reality. Here it is. I got it. I made this happen. Thank you so much. Feeling the appreciation for the universal timing, the elegance, the little touches that make sure you know that that was you and not some randomness. Priceless. Welcome to the Focus Lounge. I'm happy you're here.